All right, let's dive into what is, without a doubt, the most action-packed, pivotal, and just plain jaw-dropping act in all of Shakespeare's Julius Caesar. Seriously, if you only read one part of this play, it has to be Act 3. This is where everything explodes, where whispers turn into daggers, a friendship ends in brutal murder, and one single speech completely turns a city upside down. So buckle up, because we're breaking down the act that changes everything.
So Act 3 kicks off with this incredibly tense moment. Caesar, swaggering into the Senate, sees that soothsayer who warned him about the Ides of March. And he basically taunts him, right? He's like, hey, the Ides of March are here, and I'm totally fine. So much for your warning, huh? But the soothsayer's reply is just bone-chilling. The day isn't over yet. It sets the stage perfectly, reminding us, and him, that he is walking on the thinnest of ice. So, here's our roadmap for this wild ride. We're going to look at the final warning Caesar just brushes off. Then we get to the betrayal itself, that infamous line. After that, we'll see the bloody, bizarre aftermath, followed by the two speeches that are basically a battle for the soul of Rome. And finally, we'll watch it all erupt into pure, unadulterated chaos. Okay, so picture this. Caesar is walking to the Senate. He's feeling on top of the world, totally untouchable. He has absolutely no idea that he is just moments away from death. But fate, it gives him one last shot. Actually, a couple of last shots to save himself. Let's look at these final moments where one different decision could have changed history. It's like fate is screaming at him to pay attention. First, he gets that final spooky warning from the soothsayer. Then, a guy named Artemidorus literally shoves a letter into his hands, and we know this letter has the names of every single conspirator. But Caesar, trying to look all noble for the crowd, says, oh, personal stuff can wait. He is literally holding the key to his own survival in his hand, and he pushes it away. It's just a tragic, fatal mistake. Now, the conspirators, they're not dumb. They know that Caesar's right-hand man, his fiercely loyal friend Mark Antony, is a huge problem. So as they get close to the Senate, one of them pulls Antony aside, starting some fake, distracting conversation. And just like that, poof, Caesar's bodyguard, his most powerful defender, is out of the picture. He's now totally isolated. The trap is officially set. And now it happens. This is it, the moment the entire play has been building towards. Caesar is inside the Senate. The doors are shut. He is completely surrounded by men who look like friends but are holding daggers. There is no way out. And it happens so fast. A perfectly coordinated, deadly dance. One of the conspirators, Metellus Cimber, kneels at Caesar's feet, pretending to beg for his brother to be allowed back into Rome. It's the perfect distraction. While Caesar's focused on him, all the other conspirators casually move in, forming this tight circle around him. He's got nowhere to go. And then comes the signal. As Caesar is waving off the plea, Casca says his hands will speak for him, and he stabs Caesar from behind. That's it. The point of no return is crossed. In an instant, all the others jump in, a flurry of daggers in a brutal, savage attack. Now, get this. Caesar is fighting back. He's a general. He's strong. Until he sees him, Brutus, his best friend, the man he trusted like a son, standing there with a bloody dagger. And that's when Shakespeare gives us those absolutely heartbreaking final words. Et tu, Brutu, and you, Brutus. At that moment, it's not the knives that kill him. It's the betrayal. He just covers his face and lets himself fall. All right, so Caesar is dead on the floor of the Senate. You'd think it would be pure panic, right? Well, what happens next is actually one of the strangest, most symbolic scenes in the entire play. Brutus immediately tries to take control of the story, to spin what just happened. He tells the other conspirators to stoop down and literally bathe their hands and swords in Caesar's blood. His plan? To walk through the streets of Rome, holding their bloody weapons up high, shouting peace, freedom, and liberty. It's this shocking attempt to rebrand a vicious murder as some kind of noble sacrifice for the country. Just then, Mark Antony walks in. And he plays this so cleverly. He sees his friend's body, but he doesn't fly into a rage. He pretends to understand their reasons. He even goes so far as to shake each of their bloody hands one by one. And then he makes one simple request. Can he please speak at Caesar's funeral? The ever-suspicious Cassius immediately knows this is a terrible idea. But Brutus, fatally noble, agrees. And it's his second huge mistake. And that decision sets the stage for the ultimate showdown. But this isn't a battle with swords. This is a battle of words. Brutus and Antony are both about to address the confused, angry people of Rome. And whoever wins this argument wins Rome itself. So you've got these two speeches, back to back, and they could not be more different. Brutus goes first, and he's all logic, all head. He gives this calm, intellectual speech, basically saying, look, it's not that I didn't love Caesar, I just loved Rome more. And you know what? It works. The crowd totally buys it and cheers for him. But then Antony steps up, and he doesn't appeal to their heads, he goes straight for their hearts. He masterfully keeps repeating the line, and Brutus is an honorable man, until it's just dripping with sarcasm and turns into a weapon. But here's Antony's knockout punch. His secret weapon, Caesar's will. He teases the crowd with it, building up the suspense, making them beg to hear it. And when he finally reads it, bam! It reveals that Caesar left money to every single citizen of Rome and turned his private land into public parks for them to enjoy. This is the ultimate proof. The crowd realizes an ambitious tyrant wouldn't do that. In their eyes, Caesar was a hero, and Brutus is nothing but a traitor. If Antony's words were the match, then Rome was a powder keg. What happens next is a full-blown explosion. He has unleashed a firestorm of rage and chaos that's about to burn the entire city. And the reaction is immediate. The crowd goes from citizens to an uncontrollable mob, screaming for blood and revenge. Brutus and Cassius have to literally run for their lives, fleeing the very city they claimed they had just liberated. And to show you just how insane things get, the mob finds a poet named Cinna, and even though he tells them he's not the conspirator Cinna, they kill him anyway, just for having the same name. Their last act, to rampage through the city to burn all the conspirators' houses to the ground. And that's where Act 3 leaves us, in the middle of a burning city, on the brink of a civil war, with the so-called liberators now fugitives. It all boils down to this one critical question. Antony's speech was a masterpiece, for sure, but was it really about getting justice for his murdered friend? Or was it just a cold, calculated, and brilliant power play to take control for himself? What do you think? That's the question that drives the entire rest of the play.